Hello, how you doing? Today we are doing more endwalker side quests. Let's get to it. Perfect timing, familiar. I have a favor to ask of you. It's my job to name the creations brought to us, but I can't seem to decide on one for this particular concept. It may be because I'm the one who designed it. It's a species of plant which I intended as a gift to my love. A clear conflict of interests, unfortunately. My names were always fair and logical and perfectly suited to the creation, but this time I'm not so sure. I do have a name for it, but what if it's not suitable? What if it's too personal? I thought of discussing the matter with my associates, but my dilemma is far too embarrassing. Would you ask if they think the name is appropriate by my stead? Don't worry. I wouldn't expect you to work without recompense. This is the creation, a yellow pansy, and the name I have in mind is Mythos. Yes, what is it? My, what a pretty flower. And you said it was called Mythos? A fine name. Many flowers are named with a special feeling in mind, so going by what you've told me, this one is in good company. The flower, the flower was clearly named for love. I think it's wonderful. A familiar. Do you need something? A flower. It's beautiful, and it smells so lovely. Is it for me? Oh, you just want to know if the name is suitable for you. Have you tried asking Christus Hyberia? No one knows as much about naming them as them. Here's a guidebook on this subject. Take it with you and let your master decide what to do from there. I always feel much better taking a short respite to converse and debate with my associates. Oh, look at these little fellas. How did it go? What did everyone think of the name? I see. Well, that is good to know. I won't be needing this guidebook, of course, as I can't very well ask myself for my thoughts. Huh. Or perhaps I should. It wouldn't hurt to have some confidence in the work I do, after all. As I created this flower, I thought of my beloved, an artist, and the stories she seeks to tell through her plays. My hope is that, much like a myth or legend, her work is told and retold down through the ages, hence mythos. I've decided to keep the name and submit it to the Bureau of Architect. Thank you for your help. You must be Asm's familiar. I had a favor to ask of the observers here, but seeing as they all seem awfully preoccupied, perhaps I can ask you instead. I'm experimenting with crossbreeding different types of plants. I was thrilled when I finally produced a wholly new species, right up until the point where they rose up and floated away. Last I saw them, they were headed towards the eastern side of the island. I managed to wrangle a goodly number, but there are still 8 or so missing. Could you help me recapture them? Thank you. Here, use this etheric rope to capture, say, 4 of them, and I can hopefully handle the rest. Just an eyeball. Did you catch the plants? Thank goodness for that, though I expect no less from Asm's familiar. I rounded up my half as well, which means they're all back safe and sound. They're part irreverent, you see. It's no surprise they inherited the eyes, but having them wander off on their own was rather unexpected. To tell the truth, I never really had a specific use in mind for them. I suppose I'd best start thinking about that. The Bureau of Architect won't be impressed with my new creation unless it serves a purpose. With that in mind, I believe there is research to be done. Thank you for your help, and do pass on my regards to Asm. You there, please. It's most urgent. A colleague of mine in Philomethes at Notos has just sent word of a most disturbing nature. A blue Kybris was practicing its flying but became separated from its fellows. From what I gathered, based on my friend's manic message, it was lasting taking wing to Purpurea crystalline. We are all of us searching far and wide, but look in the direction of but could you look in the direction of Perpetua crystalline? Your help will not go unwarranted. I can assure you of that. Oh, thank you. Between us, we ought to be able to locate the lost creature. You should know that Carbidiasis have a penchant for heights, so I will scan the skies around here. I leave the upper floors of Perpendia crystalline to you. If you do happen to find the creature I spoke of, use this etheric rope to bind it. Not to worry, the bindings cause no injury or pain. Good luck, and I shall see you soon. I don't think I've ever been up here. I might have, actually. I saw that you were on your way back and hastened to return as well. So what news have you found that blue carrot rabbits? Oh, a great relief indeed. It's rather impressive it hasn't suffered any truly grievous injuries, and more impressive still that it was able to fly as far as crystalline. It had only begun to practice the art of flight recently, as I understand it. Who would have thought that it could cross such a distance with the wings still so inexperienced? No doubt credit for this ought go to Emmett Silk and his helpful instruction. Well, I for one cannot wait to see Carabids take to the skies from its perch. At any rate, I will see this creature return to Anagoras at once, though it isn't much, considering the services you've rendered. I hope it's not too lowly a prize for you. Excuse me, but have you a moment? I'm in search of a runaway creation. and need an extra set of hands to assist in its apprehension. I had been keeping such a close watch on the thing, and it had been so well behaved. I thought I could rest my eyes for a second. When I looked up, though, poof, gone. Just like that. Please, won't you help me find it? I'll make it worth your while, I promise. Oh, thank you. I'll continue to search in the vicinity, though it's likely the creature scampered off farther afield. While I scour the area here, might you explore the eastern end of Rumination's Ramble? Oh yes, I should probably tell you about the creature we're looking for. We call it a bryon, a seedkin that bears a passing resemblance to a moss bloom. It will wither and perish without water, or become an overgrown monstrosity with too much. Keeping it hydrated is a delicate balancing act. If the creature has fallen into the river, it will be, suffice it to say, too big to carry on one's own. Should you find it submerged in a body of water, try to remove as much moisture as you can. That ought to shrink it somewhat. Use this drying agent on it to drain the sodden sop. If it begins to rave at you or act in any way rampageous, subdue it and capture it with an etheric load. Nothing in my neck of the woods, I'm sorry to report. Do you have any luck? You found it, and just as I suspected, thrashing about in Rumination's Ramble. Naughty thing, so you had to subdue it. I take it. Goodness, it certainly put you through the mill. At least you do not seem too badly wounded, and nor does it. The Byron has taken the remarkable ability to predict precipitation and rainfall. If you see it shaking its leaves, you know the rain's on its way. It's why we created it in the first place, to provide those in the water wetlands a method by which they might prepare for sudden storms. Unfortunately, as we have discovered, it becomes absolutely enormous when exposed to liquid in large quantities, running, rendering them rather dangerous in humid areas. Oh well, back to the drawing board. At any rate, thank you for locating this little rascal, or rather large rascal as the case may be. I know not whose familiar you are, but you were a tremendous help. Here for your pains. Ah, a name, a name. I need to name it, one that will stand the test of time as it passes through generation after generation. When you break it down, what is a name really? Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. You're a familiar, I take it. Very good. But whose, I wonder? Well, that's not important right now. You've ears enough to listen to my plight. I'm tasked with a job of great import, nomenclature. Currently, I find myself facing down a sort of creative blockage in regards to this fellow's name. This is a creature who has not only survived the vicious wilds of the hungering gardens, but has thrived in them thanks to its ossified spines. Thus, it deserves a name befitting its rugged tenacity. Despite its singularly unique physical properties, its creator never bothered to refer to it as anything besides its designation, Euros 3110. I cannot abide by so inspired a name for a creation as remarkable as this. But therein lies the rub. For all its captivating qualities, I have yet to hit upon a captivating name. I was just on my way to take turn about the grounds to stimulate the creative juices, so to speak. But seeing you, I realize two heads may be better than one. So, what do you say? Would you care to join me in my walk? Excellent. You, my quick-witted familiar, will be a boon indeed to my imagination. Let's say we take a quiet moment to congregate beneath that large tree to the south of here. It is not the sun-daped gold forest floor stunning sight. It's not the priest so bracing us to lift the spirits. It's not the cirrus of the Melanoi's whiskers so pleasant as to induce great thoughts. Surely, with all the inspiration that surrounds us, you have been stirred into contemplation too. Tell me, what is it now you focus so squarely upon? The innumerable tasks awaiting to be done. So even familiars have their sure fare of woes. Just drinking my coffee. Okay. Might I suggest you take this moment to relax and simply let the winds wash over you, then rustle over the leaves, play you in your ears, and just think. For a time, all you can hear is the breeze, like a calming whisper in your ears. All of a sudden, a groan invades your peace of mind. Mm-hmm. Created to serve in extreme weather conditions, whose adaptability is second to none. What would be a name suitable for such a creature? I can practically feel genius on the tip of my tongue, and yet nothing comes. Oh, brother, this won't do, now will it? I hate to ask, but would you accompany me a while longer? Come, let us away to Westerly Waterfall. Eros 310 seems to be enjoying the misty spray from the falls. Ah, listen close. Can you hear it? A waterfall whose stream is at once ferocious and tender, whose spray kisses its surroundings in an affectionate pitter-patter, inspiring indeed, and like to give rise to brilliance. Yes, there is no place more perfect for the congregation of this creature's name. Come, stand with me and let us think on it. Eros 310's beady eyes appear to scan its surroundings. It is a creature that bears a strong resemblance to a plant, so perhaps Plantus? It's also a great deal similar to succulent. Ah, I've got it. Succulum. Oh, goodness gracious, no, that's just foul. I'm afraid I'm quite at a loss for names beyond the paltry few I've offered. Perhaps you could provide a fresh perspective. What is it you find most endearing about this creation? Its beady eyes. Oh, that did the trick. Your astute observational skills have stirred my imagination, for I've come up with a very worthy name. I must return to Pope to Ken Okios at once and ensure that no other creation shares a nomenclature. You will not be too far behind. Yes, you are due a suitable gift for the help you provided after all. I must say, I greatly enjoyed our time together. I believe nothing cultivates creativity quite like sharing of ideas. So often I am forced to work alone, and though it pains me to admit this, it's not much fun to ponder in the silence of one's own company. In fact, I credit you for the name I devised. All that remains now is to perpetria crystalline. Go to perpetria crystalline, ensure there is no record of any similarly named creation, and appoint Eros 310 with its official name. And should I hit another metaphorical roadblock, I shall remember to always ponder while perambulating. Thank you again for your help in this matter. It was most appreciated. Okay. Do. 2 secs. Okay. Still no reaction. What exactly are we supposed to try now? Ah, perfect. A familiar. I'm on the observation team for a new kind of bird, and it's giving us some trouble. It won't move or react at all, no matter. Oh, sorry. No matter what anyone does to it. Could you maybe give it a try? I bet I can get a reaction. I certainly hope so, and I've got something for you if you succeed. We have a specialist in Ivan species working with the creation in question, and he can help you with the particulars. You'll find them by the towering structure northeast of our settlement here. The bird bears an uncanny resemblance to a shoebill. It doesn't acknowledge your existence. You were sent to help us get this fellow's attention, yes? Then let's get you two acquainted. This here is an abyssus, so named for the way it seems to just stare off into the abyss. One of our colleagues found it perched on a Melian's antler and brought it in for closer study. And that's everything we know. We have no idea where it came from, who made it, or even what it is really. We'll be taking it to Christus Hiberia eventually, but we want to get some notes on it first, namely on how it reacts to external stimuli. The abyss thus has yet to acknowledge any of us, but maybe you can get a reaction out of it, seeing as you're familiar. Why don't you try giving it a pet to start with? The hibiscus doesn't seem to notice you touching it and continues to stare into the distance. Nothing. Like some great thinker lost in meditative trance. How about giving it a poke? The abyssus doesn't acknowledge your prodding. No good. I'm all out of ideas. Unless you want to try giving it a hug. For a brief moment, you could have sworn the abyssus glanced at you, eyes narrowed in irritation. Still nothing. Too bad, really. Actually, I think it moved. What did it do? I can't believe I missed it. Perhaps the hibiscus only responds to signs of affection. As such, I'll need you to help us experiment a bit more. We'll run dozens of tests, each with a different expression of love. No? Well, I suppose you have other duties to attend to. Still, I'm thrilled we got a reaction out of him. Thank you, and please give Perkles my regards when you go to collect your reward. Perkles, she doesn't give up. My associate said you were incredibly helpful. You have his thanks as well as mine. What did you think of the abyssus? Strangely enthralling, isn't it? With those penetrating eyes that seem to stare right into your very core. It almost feels like it's studying us as much as we're studying it. I have to wonder who made it and for what purpose. I'll have to consult with Vinat. If anyone would know of this creation, it is her. Oh, and before I forget, here is your reward for today's work. Why, hello. You're familiar, yes? And you come along to survey the grounds of Elpis, have you? Very good. Well, if you have any pressing questions, do let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. I hope she's alright. Oh, I want to go after her, but what if she comes back while I'm away? Hmm, you must be familiar. Can you help me deliver a message? I have an associate who works much too hard. I want to tell her to take a break and join me for a nice, relaxing meal. I sent another familiar already, but it's failed to return. As an experimental entity, it is too simple to handle more than one order at a time, so it might be stuck attempting to fulfill my requests. Would you mind checking on them both for me? I can give you a little something if you're willing to help out. Wonderful. Knowing my associate, she's probably dozing off somewhere around the trees to the north. This wouldn't happen if she'd get a good night's rest for once. You might need to give her a poke to wake her up. Hmm? How long was I asleep? Ephraim sent you, just to invite me to eat. Why send a familiar for something so trivial? Although, come to think of it, I could use a meal. Please let him know I'll be along soon. Wait, are you a familiar as well? I thought you were one of us for a moment. Anyway, thank you for waking me. I suppose we'll be eating at our usual place. A nice cup of tea to start with sounds lovely. Well, do you not also need to report to Epiphrion? Thank you for your help. My familiar says my associate has accepted my invitation. That is what happened, yes? Good. That means it can carry out its duties on a basic level at least. I designed it to convey ideas through information laid in ether rather than words, so I'm happy to see the communication was successful. It does seem, however, that this method is ineffective when the recipient of the message is asleep. I'll get to work on fixing that. But not now. Enjoy some time with my associates. Enjoying some time with my associate is a priority at the moment. Thank you again for your help. Fascinating, yes, simply fascinating. You don't often see a familiar show such interest in someone other than its master. You're familiar, aren't you? Then perhaps you might be able to help me. I received an appeal for assistance from a colleague of mine, but I'm up to my eyeballs in work as it is. Might you step in where I cannot? Your benevolence does you credit. The researcher I spoke of has a striking red hair and is likely lingering on the south side of Calamelios, Zephyros. Oh, you're familiar, aren't you? One sent by Galfria, no doubt. Well, thank goodness you're here. I confess I'm still in somewhat of a daze, but with you here, I at least feel safe enough to stop and catch my breath. Something came over the specimen I was examining, though I'm not entirely sure what. I had never seen it behave so erratically before. At any rate, it managed to slip my grasp and escape. I tried to chase after it, but I'm not half so fleet-footed. To complicate matters, the thing has a very nervous temperament and will flee if anyone so much as approaches it. I considered imbuing some sort of sleeping spell into a dart which one might shoot from a height, but who has such impeccable aim? Not I, to be sure. Do you? You do. I admit that proposal was made somewhat in jest, but this works out perfectly. So it's settled. You should put a skittish beast to bed. Find yourself a vantage point from a rise southeast of here, and with this blow dart, bring the frenzied fiend under control again. Me? Oh, I will stay here and take a moment to collect myself. How dexterous you must be to hit a moving target with so small an object. Most impressive. Well, allow me to take that dozing specimen off your hands. Why, what a precious sight our little beast makes when it's not running amok. A shame it can't be this adorable all the time. This was, in fact, one amateur's creator's answer to the walking shark that you recently gained approval. That recently gained approval? A somewhat hasty and ill-advised attempt, if you ask me. Credit where credit is due, though. The specimen is bipedal, despite its base being that of a quadrupedal beast. Its predilection for being an excitable nuisance, however, means it cannot be of any real use to our star. What it needs is a healthy dose of intellect. I will write a report stating as much. While I do that, return to Glafria and tell her to assist of the assistance you rendered. Oh, and offer her my gratitude too, would you? There you are. Thank you for tidying up that bit of mess for me. Speaking of which, what was the mess exactly? A thrilling game of Chase the Creation, was it? The conjures up a sorry image indeed. That conjures up a sorry image indeed. It sounds like the researcher was able to glean some valuable information, so all's well and that ends well, I suppose. If all goes according to the reports made and sufficient intellect can be cultivated, then the specimen should prove a valuable contribution to our world. Thank you again for your assistance. I consider it essential to exchange ideas with my colleagues regarding my observation work. Without such external stimulation, one has a tendency to lose the forest for the trees, so to speak. You're familiar, aren't you? Perfect timing. A pair of researchers are scheduled to arrive today for Amarat, and I need you to collect their concepts from them. We've completed assessments for their creations, you see, and must make preparations to officially register the designs with the Bureau of the Architects. Please make sure to also ask for any provisional names they might have for their works. Can I help you? Of course, you wish to collect my concept. It's this creature I have with me. It doesn't have a proper name as such. From what I hear, the observers have been calling it Nodos 642, a nod to the island it resided on. Right, well, I'll trust you to put this in Melagros's hands. Oh, these little guys. And who might you be? Ah, you're here for my concept. Well, here it is in the flesh. I call it the stone mole. It secretes a fluid that eats through solid rock, giving it the ability to burrow into even the hardest terrain. It can also toughen its skin by ingesting the rock it has liquefied. Based upon those traits, I humbly request that it be given a good, strong name. You've brought the concepts I asked for. Very good. And did you ask for the provisional names? The Stone Mall and Nodos 646. And the most creator requested that it have a powerful sounding name. Some researchers do become quite attached to their creations, don't they? Oh, they're fairies. Okay. It may seem inconsequential, but the appropriate naming of concept is of the utmost importance. Allow me to explain. Once it has been determined that a creation is beneficial to the star, we can proceed with registering the creator's design with the Bureau of the Architects. First, however, the approved concept must receive their official names, and as a taxonomist, it is my task to bestow them. When naming, one must strive for elegance and simplicity, all the while taking care to adhere to existing conventions and avoid repetition. The more creations we name, the more difficult it becomes to maintain its high standards. It is a demanding job, to be certain, but one which I am proud to do. For as long as this purpose guides me, I will fill this world with the most marvelous appellations I can imagine. Please take this in exchange for completing your errand. I am a taxonomist, an artist in the medium of names. It is my job to adorn the flora and fauna of Aetheris, such as these creatures you see here, with names befitting their natural beauty. Okay, it's been about an hour. I'm gonna call it here. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I hope you have a good day or night. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.